Dinesh and Dr. Arul Murugan, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sister.
The lockdown period has been a huge upsurge in digital learning. It has given an opportunity for students and faculties across the country to continue their learning by staying at home. The digital learning has created a platform which promoted a rich and variety of learning resources. The Crossian family is extremely happy to welcome the resource person of the day, Dr. V. Arul Murugan, at present serving as Assistant Professor of Commerce and Placement Coordinator, School of Management, Pondicherry University since 2009. He pursued his PhD in Commerce, Logistics Science in the University of Madras, Chennai, and MBA in International Business from Pondicherry University. He is a successful educationist and has great thirst for knowledge. He has achieved many awards. To mention a few, to his credit, he has 18 years of teaching and research experience in the University of Madras, MS University, and Pondicherry University since 2002. He has guided 14 pre-doctoral research scholars. He specialized in commerce science and research. He completed an ICSSR major research project. He has received 28 awards and recognition. To mention, 6-time awards of Best Teacher Award, Best Young Scientist Award, Best NSS Program Officer Award, Best Faculty Honorary Award, Triple Gold Medalist, professionally qualified in UGC NET JRF in Commerce in 2004, UGC NET EFL in Commerce in 2002 and 3, and UGC NET in Management in 2010. Cash Award for Best Research Paper at national level by LIC of India. One of the parade commander and camp senior in NSS for Republic Day Parade at New Delhi in 2000. He published 21 research articles in the international and national referred journals and edited volumes. He presented 43 papers in UGC-sponsored international national level conference and seminars. He is a life member of Indian Accounting Association. He had organized various entrepreneurship development programs. He has conducted UGC-sponsored coaching classes for UGC SLET NET examination in MS University. He is a C certificate holder in NCC as a junior under officer. He served as resource person for coaching civil service exams. He is also involved in career guidance and counseling and outreach program. To sum up, he is an inspirational speaker, writer, scientific researcher, data analyst, career counselor, and social technocrat. We are extremely happy to have you as a resource person for today's program, Dr. Arul Murugan. Welcome in the name of our Crossian family. Dear faculties, we are also organizing today's seminar in collaboration with the Audacious Dream Foundation. So we have another important person to be introduced, Mr. Dinesh, Catalyst and Executive Director, Audacious Dream Foundation. He is a partnership and resource committee member in Commonwealth Youth Council, Commonwealth Youth Worker Awardee at the Asia level. He is also recognized as Commonwealth Champion by the Secretary General of Commonwealth for Indian Government. He is a nominee for Commonwealth Youth Council. Hearty welcome, Dinesh, and my warm welcome to our Crossian fraternity. Over to Dr. Arul Murugan.
Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you. So, hope I can proceed, I suppose. So, if everyone is ready. Dinesh, can I?
Yes, sir, please. Yeah.
It's most respected, administration, management, and the principal, the other faculty colleagues from the college, and Mr. Dinesh from Audacious. So thanks a lot for inviting me for a wonderful session on an important insight to all the faculty members across the country in a situation of pandemic where student-teacher interaction has to go in a bigger way. So that's an ultimate aim that every institution, every teacher, every parent, every even the government is thinking that there should not be any hurdle between student-teacher interaction because that is more important for life. So, but still, with all these infrastructural bottlenecks, with all these what you call as the pandemic scenario, that even though we have been for what you call as we are in the unlock phase 4, that ultimately, except educational institutions and public transport is yet to get resumed, but still we have a lockdown till September 30th. But still, we need to go ahead with our academic endeavors. And whether we like it or not, we are forced. For example, in the month of March, when sudden close down was happening, lockdown was happening, and what is happening is like we were a little uneasy as a faculty member, as a student, whether we need to go online, whether is it necessary to go online. But end of the day, after 6 months, we are forced. We are one way, we are mandatorily, we are forced, or by virtue that we need to go ahead for this kind of online interactions. So that is where we need to think of. When we think of for online education, there are so many challenges ahead. That is what a few students are willing to come online. Few teachers are quite interested to come online. Management is mandatory, or the system demands that they have to go online because we cannot keep quiet for a long time. So we have we need to start our new academic session. So there are different conspiracy theory why we need to have full year. We can have a academic what you call it as break. So a lot of different versions are going on, but still we need to swim in a pool where something has to happen. With that note, thanks a lot for the Holy Cross College, Home Science College of Tutkering for organizing and enlightening the faculty members with the little knowledge I have in this aspect. So this is the 24th online event like webinar FDP on different angle research, data analytics and online education and beyond all those commerce emerging areas. And this is my 24th program. So with this note, I thought like if it is better if I share experience in online education, that will little way help the faculty members, ease the faculty members to start or to make it much interesting to the students. So unless otherwise online education or online teaching and learning is not interesting, made by the teacher or perceived by the student, it may not have its own output. So, but I have made my one student to enjoy the online classes, online sessions with a lot of what you call it as with a minimum amount of infrastructure and a lot of activities that I have been doing for past 1 month regularly for this semester and 1 month in the last semester. So that is what we were doing it in Pondicherry University. So I just want to share what the model which I have created, which can help. I know that all the teachers would have created your own models by the time. So whether you have taken the online sessions for the last year or last semester, but now I know that government is made mandatory, university has made mandatory, the administration has made mandatory that you need to go for online sessions. So how we can go for online session? That is what I'm going to discuss with you for next, like it's almost 11:40, so we'll go till 12:30. Then if you have any queries, you can interact with me. So with your what you call as the little insight, I'm just going on sharing my PowerPoint presentation. If time permits, I will show you some practical aspects of using online platforms comfortably to look at. Okay, so I'm just sharing my PowerPoint presentation, and I want someone to acknowledge that my PowerPoint is visible to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Dinesh. So maybe like from here we'll just start the session as such. The thing, but whenever we talk about online education, we normally think the knowledge base that what we have as a teacher, and we try to do it. And most of us we think in the perspective of the provider, and most of us we think even the institution normally concentrates, insist the faculty members to move on into online education. But most important thing is that the receiver is more important. The student is more important. So I thought like in that angle, if whenever I thought of any classes, I normally think in the student-centric angle. Even the online education, online schooling or online teaching and learning process, I thought in that line. So, and one more thing is that have used the word blended approach. See, completely going for online is also not possible. Completely going for a physical mode is also not possible. So we have to have a hybrid variety of taking it, and that is what technique called as blending of two approaches, physical and online. So that is why I have coined a student-centric blended approach model, which I want to just deliberate with you. And this is where I want to say in the second slide that provider is a teacher and receiver is a student. So we need to meet in a point. Otherwise, online sessions, online classes may not be what you call as interesting and may not be reaching to all the students. Even now, whether we are reaching to all the students that are in your class, it's biggest question mark because of there are so many reasons, even though we have come out. So we'll just see what are those things. And before we get into that, most importantly, the online education in our perspective can be classified into three broader segments. First part is online teaching and learning through the classes, whatever we have physically, that we need to go online teaching and learning. That is one aspect. And the second aspect is online assessment and monitoring. So we normally conduct exams and how we are going to do that assessment and monitoring online. And the third one is online grading and certification. Usually online teaching and learning, online assessment and monitoring lies with the teacher. And online grading and certification lies with the institution. If it is an autonomous and your own college, if it is what you call it as university, they will be taking care of it. Already, even last 5 years, most of the universities and degree awarding institutions has gone into online grading and certification. For us, like last 10 years, we have been doing online grading and certification. And maybe online teaching and learning, online assessment and monitoring, we started in the last semester, in the same day. So these two are more important, which we are going to concentrate today. And as I told you that, can we go 100% physical? May not be. And can we go 100% online? May not be. That is what the reality. Something different we need to go. That is what is called as blended approach. And that is what today I'm going to discuss with you. And before we look into those models, let me understand the technological driven difficulties of in the student perspective. Then only we can get a clarity that what we can. See, as a teacher, we may have a comfortable mobile, we may have a comfortable laptop or a desktop with a continuous internet accessibility, and we are learning. I'm not saying that all. If anybody is permanently salaried, they are comfortable like us. But there are colleges where you have guest faculties. There are colleges where we have what you call it as the temporary faculties, where they will be paid comparatively less to the permanent staff. So whether they are affordable to this, even the institution suddenly cannot get up because we have invested heavily on the infrastructure, buildings, labs, but suddenly we want to get into technology. Can it be possible? Whether the students with, for example, two children in a family, just think of the father will be having only one mobile. So how this is going to happen? Maybe may not be that all the families will have a laptop, internet connectivity, rural areas, think of. So I have made a little survey with my own students before starting my online education in the month of August. And I have just made a survey in the month of April, May. And I could understand there are a lot of difficulties. And with these difficulties, how we can go about. That is what I'm going to discuss with you today. And most important thing is that infrastructure. We need to have minimum a laptop or a desktop, if not a lower end smartphone. So whether all will be having a teacher as well as students supposed to have, if not institution has to create. So today, if you want to buy at least 7,000 to 10,000 rupees, we need to. So whether that infrastructure is available, whether we have adequate wired or wireless connectivity is available. And students are saying that, sir, we don't have a proper connectivity. Our area is not connected with the internet connectivity, even though it is connected with electricity. If you take it in a national picture, there are villages still they don't have electricity. Then how there will be internet connectivity? And beyond that, comfortable online platforms. Even the software developers, online platforms makers, simply they have created some platform for their internal meetings. Even Google Meet is created by Google to have an internal meeting, not for an outside. Later, they understood that there is a requirement for corporates. They have made it as a product. So online platform tools are coming up. In last 2 months, it has come in a bigger way. So internationally, nationally, So there are so many people who are coming out with concrete online platforms. But whether we can use all those platforms, whether students and teachers will be more comfortable. And the other one is accessibility, because we don't have proper access, connectivity. Even for example, today I'm comfortable because I'm the only person sitting in my campus and connecting to the internet. If more number of people are going to access it, then ultimately what will happen is like the accessibility is the biggest problem. Frequently it get what you call as disconnected. So that is what it happens. Even sometimes I'm worried. So anytime it can get disconnected. So what are the service providers they have? Think of it as student angle. And most important is affordability. They may have a cell phone, but if you want to really work on every day, for example, 3 to 5 hours class is going on now in Tamil Nadu and other areas. If 3 to 5 hours classes are going on, the data consumption will be more. The data are normally minimum 300 rupees on an average. A monthly investment, I'm not saying expenses because we are going to learn it. A monthly investment is required, whether it is affordable by all the students. Can we go for 5 hours? Can we go for 3 hours? Can we go for 2 hours? And still they are more interested in social media rather than online session. How we are going to blend the social media and online session is more important. So we cannot go completely away from their online interactions. Already they are more comfortable in WhatsApp and Facebook, the Instagram, Telegram, YouTube, all those. So we need to blend those things now. Then only it can be. We cannot go separately and we cannot bring separate things. And more important is attitude. See, by virtue, we have an attitude. Why I should go for online? Yeah, I can enjoy my home. So that the attitude matters. Teachers should get that attitude of coming into online, or students also should be happy to attend your classes. So it is cannot be like a raw content. If you do raw content in your class, student may not come. Already they have a number of problems with connectivity, infrastructure, how this is going to be. So keeping in the mind available infrastructure, available connectivity, the present online platforms, the accessibility and the affordability of the students and teachers and the institution, and the attitude. Now I think people started accepting the online sessions, online events. There are a lot of quizzes, seminars, webinars, FDPs, and everything is going on. That's a one way. So keeping all these technology-driven difficulties with us, I have, what you could comfortably designed a model which I'm incorporating with my students in a simple way, not in a bigger way. I think maybe by the time we have got Google Shoot also, G Shoot, but I don't use the G Shoot. I normally go for a personalized, available, open source tools. So where there is no need to pay for it, to buy. Right? Even YouTube is free for education institution. Maybe I don't know whether your education institution is using it. Okay. So with this note, let me get in. Till now, Dinesh, are you there? Is it okay? Can I move on? Any confirmation? Any acknowledgement? Okay. Teacher-student online connectivity. If somebody is able to give me a positive nod. Hello? Dinesh? Is that I'm on? Anybody? Okay, I'll continue. So teacher-student online connectivity, I request someone to acknowledge for a few minutes whereby I can understand that I'm live. I'm live. Oh God. Anyway, so teacher-student online connectivity, till now we were having it what do you call us? We were using only web portal before pandemic. Before online classes, we were just using the web portals. Some institution portals will be there. So we'll be placing some information, our course details. Still, we use our institutional web portals. And through that, we interacted only for admissions, only for results. Gradually, we came in. Then as a teacher, I started using, when I started my career in 2000, the 18 years back. In 2002 itself, I started using mails, group mails to connect my students. So every time I have updated very fast to the connectivity with the students. And we are using Outlook, Yahoo Mail was used. Later, when we had a social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So all those stuffs and even Skype, which was very popular, that we have used. We have used in a bigger way. So this is what normally we have used it. But later, what has happened is like we started using online connectivity very recently. We are using Zoom. So Google Meet is there, Zoom is there, even WhatsApp, a minimum number of WhatsApp interaction can be made. GoToWebinar, another online platform. Microsoft Team is there, WebEx Meet is there, Cisco WebEx Meet, and Duo has come out for a one-to-one connection and little. And recently, an Indian company has come out with GeoMeet. I still all other areas I have done programs except this GeoMeet, so which I have to work on. Skype. So these are the online platforms which are very well available, for teachers. Some are what you call it as the paid, some are unpaid. Free version is there, personalized version is there. What we are using it. So thanks to Dinesh for making it, because it's a paid version. Then only we can go for recording and all those things can happen. So most important thing, we are coming back with all those hurdles that student is facing, the teacher is facing, the institution is facing. But when you come for online teaching and learning comparatively to physical classes and online classes, if you look in. So in the physical class, what we normally do, we give a lecture, maybe an interactive lecture or a lecture. Then we go for an interaction. Then we go for a question and answer in between. Then we ask for a feedback. Sorry, this is what happens in every physical class, what we have been doing. But today we have to move to online. When you go for online classes, whether I can replicate those things, it is possible, very well possible. The lecture now, it is called as online lecture, which I'm just giving it to you. And online interaction also is possible. If a closed circle, online interaction is possible with the 100 in numbers. If you have 100 in numbers, and which we can use it free of cost. If it is more, then we have to pay. So online interaction is possible. I'll tell you how online classes can be made interesting with interactions. Question and answer also can happen, because I can ask you a question. The student can unmute and talk to me. So that is also possible. Online feedback also is possible now. So whatever happening in the physical class, we can make it in the online class. We can make it in the online class. So that's not a big tool. And with this, what is a blended strategy that I'm adapting in online teaching and learning? I don't know, many of you may be using Google Meet or some other Meet. What I am doing, I'll tell you, but everybody is having a better model. The model which I'm using only these three for classes. Like what I have done is, I have created a WhatsApp group with my students year-wise, not subject-wise. For example, 1 year I may take 2 subjects also. So don't go for a subject-wise, year-wise one group. For example, first year one group, second year one group. As a PG, if you have a UG, then third year another group. So you can create a WhatsApp group by individual faculties, and make sure that today most of the students are interested in WhatsApping. So once you have a WhatsApp group, then you can ask them. So whatever I'm telling you, I'm using only mobile to mobile connectivity. Not even a system is required to the faculties or to the students. It is a approach, M2M approach. That's what I call it as mobile to mobile approach. That is what the model is. So you can use the Google Meet app in your in your mobile, and you can ask your students to install Google Meet. By the time they will be doing it, but all these things can be connected to a Google Classroom, right? Google Class, without Google Classroom also, you can go with simple WhatsApp and Google Meet. What I do normally is, before a day of my class, today you have a schedule, but if you don't have, before a day of my class, I will make a message in the WhatsApp group stating that tomorrow is going to be this class at this time. Okay. Then at the time, I will post the link. So I don't schedule even the meeting. I don't bother about scheduling in Google Meet. So the moment, for example, 10 o'clock tomorrow, there is a class. At 9:55, I take my mobile and I will start a new meeting in the Google Meet and share that link in that WhatsApp group. That's all. If you share, you'll ask WhatsApp. If you go to WhatsApp, then you can share it in the group. The moment you share, you can come back to Google Meet and you can see your students getting into that through that link. So because all are interested to see WhatsApp only, right? So even Facebook and WhatsApp. So we can use WhatsApp. So once they come in, I am discussing there in the Google Meet. And classroom is an offline activity. Even we can do an online activity in the classroom to record your all your happenings. You can create subject-wise classrooms. I think most of you may use it. If not, if you want, I will show at the end how to create the Google Classrooms. Okay, so you can create Google Classrooms. In that, through that, you can post assignment. You can request from the students. It will go as a mail. So my humble request is make every student to get Gmail, because most of the platforms are connected with Google account. So every student is supposed to have a Gmail. That is basic. If you have in the different names, please create a Google ID, Gmail ID, where you can connect all this. So what I do is I take this WhatsApp as a base, and I'll conduct the class on Google Meet. I'll give activities on Google Classroom activities. A point is a Google Classroom activities. I'll just show you that how I conduct a session using these three. For example, if usually we conduct 2 hours of session, right, continuously with a break. So if you normally you'll be having 1 hour session or 45 minutes to 1 hour session. If it is that there, how we can structure our session? That is what I'm going to tell you. See, simply discussing your syllabus with the PowerPoint or without PowerPoint, or sharing your PDF file or Word file. You can just go for discussing your syllabus unit by unit. But students will not be interested. So you have to make an interaction. How to make the online interaction? You can always ask your student to respond through their voice. But what happens in my practical experience, many of the students are not unmuting and talking to us. Many are interested in chatting because we have closed their mouths. We are allowed to type. So we can use the chat box. So simultaneously, when the Google Meet, I'm taking the class side, I will open my chat box. So in that chat, whatever I'm asking, they'll put okay, yes sir, understood, purinjide. So this doubt I have. So they are more comfortable in typing, because whenever we go for online classes, we cannot expect this kind of attire and come and sit. Student will be always student. They don't want to spend their time unnecessarily. So they may be in different costume. Even if you start your class by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, they are not even dressed. So never mind to see them in videos. At least they can respond even in voice, if not at least in chats. I make sure that all my students respond me either by voice or chats. I don't compel them to come in videos. If you start compelling them to come in videos, they won't come into online classes. Because that is how, because they are staying in the home. They are not in an institution where they come in proper attendance. So that we need to understand from the students. So to make more interesting, there is one application called as Mentimeter. You can note down and you can explore later. If you go to that Mentimeter, you can create a word cloud. You would have seen in word clouds, so which I normally, people will be interested. I create that and send that link to that Google Meet chat box or WhatsApp. So they have to click while in the class. They have to type 3 concepts of that, 3 words of the topic we are discussing. It will form a word cloud. Maybe if time permits, I will show that. And a lot of Google Classroom activities simultaneously we can conduct. We can conduct a poll through Google Classroom activities. We can conduct that, it is not CQs, it is MCQs. Sorry, there is a typing error. You can conduct MCQs, multiple choice questions. Maybe that is what today we call as a quiz. We can have a discussion, oral discussion, as well as you can leave a discussion topic where the students can enter anytime, not only in online session, in offline also, right? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, if they browse, they can get in and they can type. I have seen my own students typing at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and even they send what you call as the reply at 12 o'clock also. Because we cannot deny that. It's a practicality. Even I schedule some of the response, some of the things at 11:30. So that is where 24/7 online classes can go in 24/7, maybe in the offline session. Assignments also you can do Google Classroom itself. You can use Edmodo, you can use any other platform also. So there are so many platforms available online. We call it as learning management system, LMS. But the one LMS which I am using is Google Classroom. So which is more comfortable because Gmail, Google Classroom, Google Meet, highly interactive, WhatsApp. These 3 are Google platforms, compatible. Google Chrome. If you open Google Meet in a what you call as in Mozilla, sometimes it is not working. So whenever you want to get into Google platforms, you need to start using Google platforms. GShoot, that is what we call it. And one more interesting thing I have done, which I want to share to you, participation of the students. It is not only academic topics, subject topics we need to. What I did is I allowed them to participate through their artistic inherent talents. For example, my class, it goes for 2 hours. 2 students will be singing song in between my class. So I asked them on the previous day, get ready for a song. And I asked them to sing the song in between, right? So ultimately what happens is like some subject matter, and now they are working on a group song. They are in different places. They selected a song and they are going to sing. One girl was quite interesting that she was showing a wall painting. Don't believe, 8 feet height. That one of my postgraduate MCOM girl, I can even name it, Miss Nadira, has painted the entire wall that she has showcased in between the classes. And gardening, cooking, doesn't matter. So whatever artistic talents, drawing, painting, handicrafts. So you can allow at least 1 student or 2 students in a day in a class to showcase for 5 minutes. Nothing is going to happen. 2 minutes. Ask others to appreciate them. So my humble thing is that bring the students with an interest to our online class. That will happen only when you allow them to participate of their own interest. Then you can inherit the subject knowledge. That is what is required today. And online attendance, normally we go for manual attendance, but now I have found a small technique. By using Google Classroom, we can go for voice missing. Online attendance with Google Classroom or manual, you can do it. So how I do it in the sense like, in the Google Classroom, there is an option called as question. In that I log in and I create an attendance and I give that option that, for example, my class hour is 10 to 12. At 10 o'clock only that link will get open. I schedule that. At 12 o'clock, that link will get closed. So if anybody is coming into my class in the Google Meet, we'll simultaneously go to Google Classroom. I'll put the link and they have to go to Google Classroom. There will be one option called as yes, attendance for today, yes. So they have to click it. So end of my session, if I go to Google Classroom of that subject, and if you see that, I can easily understand out of the total students, how many students has attended, how many is absent. So it's very simple. So make students be more interactive. Students are, see, rather than the teachers we have, students are more comfortable with the technology. The only thing is that we need to bring their attitude of participation. Even though they are 24/7 in the mobile with internet, when you say there is an online class, they will say, sir, I don't have a mobile phone, sir. I don't have an internet connection. But we need to talk to them. We need to, even after the class, if somebody is absent, what I do is, I call them personally and ask, what happened, my dear, why you are not be part of it. If there is a genuine reason, I tell them, okay, why don't you come in the next session, you can enjoy. So that is how we need to make. So first we need to make a student-led approach. So this is what my class normally I conduct. So there will be a subject content. There will be an outside world. One student will be presenting in the first 5 minutes what is happening around the world on business, because I'm a commerce faculty. And in between, somebody will sing, somebody will show their painting, somebody will show their creativity, and I give a space for that. So if it is 2 hours, within 10 minutes break. So totally 20 minutes I spend for students. And another 40 plus 40, 40 plus 40, 80 minutes jam-packed of class will be there with quite interesting interactions. So that should be there. You cannot simply be like this and speak. They'll get bored. So what I did is, for example, I'll keep my laptop on the table, little height, and I just walk around and talk to them. So thereby they enjoy. So this is where we need to go ahead. Moving on to online assessment. So online classes, make it interesting. Allow students to participate with their own interest. Even you can allow some celebrations also. Yesterday there was Onam. I have students from Kerala. They have shown two columns. One student I allowed, they have shown two columns and how they celebrate Onam in between the class. So these are the things which you can totally dedicate into entertainment. So classes, online classes, supposed to be entertaining. We need to entertain, otherwise it cannot. We need to get that interest. That is what ultimately, like, it is in the hands of the teachers to work on. My own friends, please work on. I know most of you are like quite interested on it. Getting into the second important aspect, online assessment and monitoring. If you look into that, normally how we assess our students, if you see the left side, physical assessment, like written examination, we normally conduct written examination and we give assignments, we ask them to go for a presentation, simultaneously we go for Viva's examination. Same thing is available online, we can easily do it. We can conduct an online test. I will tell you how I am doing it. So normally when we say online test, you think that, oh, I have to create an online question paper. I have to give it them in online mode. They have to sit and type in the computer or mobile. Is it possible? But I have found a little mechanism, which I've experienced. Students are interested. Online assignments, we can give a topic and they can write and submit. Online presentation, for example, you can allow 5 minutes or 10 minutes for each presenter. They can present with their PowerPoint. They can prepare a PowerPoint or they can orally present. Based on that, you can conduct. Online Viva's examination. For example, if you have a practical exam, you want to have a Viva's examination. You can conduct one-to-one Viva or one-to-many Viva. You can conduct it. So there is all possibility that online assessment and monitoring can be possible. The only thing is that it's very difficult to go for a monitoring purpose, but still, the end of the day, if you look in online written test, we normally go for online written tests or online oral test. I can divide into these two. So either you will be giving objective type question or subjective type question. Now what is happening? Online assignment we are giving. When you go for online oral test, we do online presentation, online bio voice, group discussion, quiz. You can ask questions and they can answer. You can give your marks. So all these things, like there are certain things written, there are certain things oral. In my opinion, I'll tell you, when you go for a physical examination, we only examine the written skill of the student. Today, thank God to online education, it is checking out or examining the other skills rather than written skills alone. Artistic skills, the speaking skills, their ordering skills, their thinking skills, creativity skills, technology skills, everything. That is what I mean to say. Our current system only evaluates those students who are comfortable in writing skills. If the student is able to write, we give highest mark. If the student is unable to write, if they are knowledgeable, there is no space for us to give marks. But today in online sessions, we can do that. We can take all the 360-degree evaluation of the students. It is possible. And maybe you may ask, sir, online session, supervision, our copy, they go for copying. How to come out of that? Many of us have that apprehension. See, in my opinion, we need to believe the students, no other go. And we need to make sure that the questions are structured in such a way that they have to think and write. What we normally do that, we check only the memory capacity of the students. We ask what is what, when is when. But when we create a question to the students that they have to think and apply the knowledge what they have learned in the syllabus to write, which I normally do that. Even in a physical examination, I never ask what is what. I make them to think and write in their own words. I don't want to vomit what they read from some experts. They can read, but they have to write by their own. That attitude we can bring it. But still, there is private organizations, software packages they are available. Exam online, if you look into that, you can see these are the things they have. Even through cloud and sixth sense technology and artificial intelligence, AI, even the supervision can be made. They normally, send their question paper encrypted, and at the starting time and end time, they will not allow that screen should be moved from the single screen. And for example, only 4 keys will get operated in the laptop, A, B, C, D. So they can click A if the answer is right, B, C. But such kind of technology and infrastructure, it is very difficult. It is expensive. It's expensive that whether institution can create it, it may not be. So that level, let us not go in. But what I did is, There are so many things like Google Classroom, Moodle, Google Forms are available to conduct the written examination based on the comfortability. But even this is little time consuming. So I want to blend. Even oral test if you look at it. So we can use Skype. These are the platforms which has come in. So we can go for PhD Vivas almost now. It is happening in Zoom. It is happening in Google Meet. It is happening in Teams. So all these are online platforms. It's happening. But what is my opinion is that you cannot go completely online. For teaching, you can go for online. And it is very difficult for the students. For example, you can ask multiple choice question. If you ask multiple choice question, then they can type A, right, B, C, D, whichever is right. It is easy for them because most of them are having only mobile. If you ask them to write a short answer or a long answer, is it possible for them to type? They will not participate. Even if they participate, they will not contribute with interest. So what I thought is why don't we retain the writing in the paper and conduct an online exams? So that is what I call it as blended thing, blending both the things. So how I have done is, which I have called this as a OSOTA model, that is open source online test and assignment model. That is a model which I have created. I used the last semester and this semester also I am planning to use it. It is very successful. Students are feeling like they are writing the exams in the classroom. So what we did is, see, one more thing is that we have to forgo checking the memory capacity of an individual. Is it necessary? That's my question which I want to ask you. Do you remember your own mobile number? Many of us don't. Do you remember your spouse or parents' children mobile number? Many of us don't, because our memory is in the mobile. Our memory is not in the brain. That is the situation we play. If that is the case, if there is no much need to have a memory capacity, what we need is understanding capacity. So what we go for is, we can go for an open source online test. I will give you a question. The students can refer anything. They can ask Google, they can ask anything, they can refer any books, they can refer any newspapers. But they have to write answer for our question. Such a way, the setting of a question paper is also important in this situation. So what I do is, I schedule the test. For example, tomorrow at 10 to 1, there is a test. So I'll put a WhatsApp message in the group, which I have created already for a class. For this subject, what you call as exams test, 3 hours. And I put a modalities also. And in that, I tell them at 10 o'clock, you will receive the question paper in the WhatsApp. So at 10 o'clock, I'll post the question in the WhatsApp, question paper in the WhatsApp. Now you see what they have to do is, they have to have a paper in their home, right? By looking into the mobile, the question paper, they will write the answer as we are conducting in a classroom, in an examination hall. That we need to make it. So that is what I said, that open source. We are only going to check not the memory, we are going to check the understanding. I made it my students. So if you copy something as it is from any sources, I will not give you mark, or I will give you less mark. Okay? If I understand that you have written this by your understanding, the weightage, that what you call as, we call it as matrix, that rubrics, that we can give it to that. So once they write, for example, 10 o'clock, we'll start the exam, question paper will be given in the group. So each one of them will be sitting in different parts of the country. Myself, for example, 18 states we have students, from northeast to Kerala, from this side west to this side south. So they'll be writing the exams. Once they complete the exam at 1 o'clock, we give half an hour time. They take a photograph of the answer scripts. Previously they were using cam scanner. Now the government has banned it. So now we have Office Lens. There is an application called as Office Lens. So if you install that application, you can Office Lens, you can take a photograph. For example, 10 papers they have written, 10 pages. They can take page number 1, page number 2, page number 3, page number 4. So they can save it, and automatically it can be converted into PDF. That with the mobile. So convert into PDF and send it to my Gmail ID. I give an ID in the group. So each student will be sending their paper in an ID. What I do, I will at 1:30, I'll be sitting in the system. So whoever sends it, I will download that attachment, save it in a folder, and I'll give an acknowledgement mail to them. So if you have a 30 students or a 40 students, you'll get 40 mails and you'll get a 40 PDF file. And whereby your answer scripts will be there. So as far as a teacher is concerned, you have created a question paper and you got your answer booklets for verification. The technology is supporting us. In the other side, if you look in, instead of receiving a question paper in a paper, they are receiving a file in their WhatsApp and they have started writing like an exam and they are sending. That's what I mean to say. If you want to have a monitoring, only for memory it is required. For understanding, monitoring is not required. Supervision is not required in my opinion. Believe on the students. Even when I was a student, one of my teachers, what he will do is that he will give only 4 pages of answer script, that is paper, and he will give one question and say that you have to write everything within this 2 paper. You can refer anything. He will not supervise. He will go. Have the confidence on that. Students will get understanding. Students will be moralized. There are 1 or 2, but we can easily identify. No other go in online. This blended approach can be made. 10 more minutes to go. Nothing is there. Like whenever we discuss on, as I told you, that online platforms, we can use the blended approach in a simple. And the future direction is like there are 3 stakeholders out there beyond everyone. We are leaving out the government, leaving out the parents. Teachers' initiatives is more important in my opinion. We teachers should be interested. No other go. I think this year or this semester will go on online mode. That is what my prediction is. So working on that, don't expect that physical classes will start immediately. The moment we saw the MHA order day before yesterday, so it shows that there is a possibility. It will take some time because we're going to expose our students to public with the COVID. So teachers' initiative is more important. We need to come forward. We need to. This is a model which out of my own trial and error I found out. Same way many teachers would have found out with different models. You can share like me. And the most important is students' willingness. Student willingness will not come by itself. That's why I told no. As a teacher, it is our responsibility to bring the students into online sessions. When you change their attitude, leave out those students who are unable to join because of practical problems. There are students who are able, but they are not coming in. So we need to create a willingness. So if I ask my students today, they are saying, sir, we are, for example, if someday, if some other work, if I, what you call it as, postponing my class, they'll ask, sir, we want your class today. So that willingness that you need to make, if they are coming online for 1 hour or 2 hours for online classes, they should feel they are enjoying. Don't expect, don't put a lot of conditions onto that. Because in the classroom, we say, you have to sit like this. I told them, you being in your free, you can sit in a garden and you listen. You sit in a terrace and listen. You sit in a bedroom and listen. Nobody bothers. We cannot ask them because there is no need to open our video unless otherwise there is required. But as a presenter, we need it. For example, in our meet also, almost everybody has muted your video and audio. So this is what it happens. And it's the biggest challenge because talking into a screen with a lot of attitude and enjoyment, we need to act. And beyond teachers' initiative and students' willingness, institutional support is important. For example, this act of conducting a webinar on online education itself an institutional support. Now you'll see Dinesh and your college join together, your administration and the all the people, Madam Mary Glida, everybody has joined together and there is an institutional support. Suddenly we cannot expect that everybody has to be given with all the support by institution, but there are online sources, as I told you, that by the time your institution should have got G Shoot free permission from Google. So if not, please exercise that and get a Google Gmail, what you call a G Shoot ID for all your faculties. That will allow them to record. But the personalized ID also you can go ahead. I'm used just to open I use always open source. So till now we have just what is way forward is we have to move from education to digital education, no other go. Physical platforms to digital platforms. We need to understand every teacher. It is not that only computer science teacher has to understand what is hardware and software. Whether you are teaching Tamil, English, literature, home sciences, fashion, designing, right, nursing, whatever it may be, like food and nutrition, whatever it may be. Right? I know many faculties are from what you call as almost all are from home science departments, except I have seen your college profile, that courses. You can very well use online platforms. For example, fashion design. You can ask your students to come in a attire and they can go for a ramp walk. They can go for a ramp walk and show in a thing and how it is happening. You can have a marks for that, right? Especially food and nutrition. You can ask uncooked what you call it as the menus, dishes. So ultimately, you can think of. So we need to innovate more and more. You can conduct online cooking competitions. Why not? Online herbal products competitions. So many things. Designing competitions. Commerce. You can, for example, you can allow your students to go and take a selfie from a shop and they can show the selfie and they can explain. And that is where called as gateware. Gateware means hardware is there, software is there. Unless otherwise you have a gateware. Gateware is a human brain. If we don't use that hardware and software wisely, online education cannot happen. And that is what I've been saying. Till now, what I've speak about is student-centric blended platforms and tools. There are a number of things. Minimum tools you use it. Try to conduct online classes. Let us conduct online exams. Grading and other things, institution will take care. So to narrow down, what I mean to say is that if a student and teacher able to have a Gmail ID, if a student is able to be part of a WhatsApp group created by the teacher, and if both of them have what you call as Google Classroom application app in their mobile, if you are able to have Google Meet app in your mobile, Office Lens for students. If you have these 5 applications in your mobile, then we can easily conduct online classes and online examination. This is what my humble thing which I want to. You can always explore. You can always explore what you call it as creating Google Classroom, online Meet. By the time most of you are gone for it. If you are interested, if time permits, if you allow me, then I can show you how to create a classroom, a subject classroom in an online classroom, how to interact with your students. That I can give a demo also if you are interested. But end of the day, the future role of a teacher. Today, we cannot call ourselves as a teacher. We need to put a e-teacher, E in front of us. And tomorrow is going to be e-teachers, not teachers. So we need to convert ourselves. Time has come that we need to convert ourselves from a teacher to e-teacher. But what I mean to say is that from very back, from 2002 when I started my teaching career, one or the other way, I am a e-teacher. Today, if you go and ask my own students 18 years before, they'll say, yeah, Arul sir, no, you'll be using technology. Till today, for example, 50-50, even before pandemic, I was using 50% technology and 50% physical because of the system. And today I have moved on to 99% technology, 1% which still to go. So now we have all platforms which we can make. So with this note, please, whenever you are going for online classes and examination, think in the angle of your own students. I thought in my angle of my own students, and I have created this model. As I told you, please remember Gmail account, then WhatsApp, then you have Google Meet, Google Classroom, Office Lens. So these are the things which you can go ahead. So if I think it's 12:30 now, this is what my presentation is. I think creating a ID is not a problem. Creating a WhatsApp group is not a problem. Many are conversant with that. Conducting a meeting with Google Meet is not a problem. So there is no need to think of scheduling your classes. If that done, you can create and share it in your Google, what you call as in the, you can use mobile, don't use laptop and all. Use your mobile. You can use your PowerPoint presentation. Even sometimes you can use recorded messages, recorded videos also you can use it. So this is what you can go ahead. And Google Classroom, which will give you an evidence later that you can interact with the students, assignments, classworks, and what you call it as. So even that is what I told you, Mentimeter, just explore Mentimeter. So all are user friendly. There is no need for someone to train you. So if you use these applications with your mobile, with others' mobile, don't look around for your what you call it as the laptop or desktop internet connectivity. Mobile will carry only consume less data rather than if you go for a desktop or the laptop. So in my opinion, teachers and students can apply this approach in an M2M model, that is mobile to mobile model. And before I conclude, I want to tell you one thing that recently the survey says that, statistics says that one should see the screen only for 20 minutes. If you are seeing more than 20 minutes, there is a kind of radiation and retina get affected. So 20 to 20 minutes. What I do is I created a model called as 20 to 20 minutes. In the sense like 20 minutes class I'll take it, that too more interactive, and 2 minutes I'll allow students to interact, and again 20 minutes. I ask them to not to see the screen for next 2 minutes. So these are some of the things, because physically teacher, I know how much stress it is. We can walk down and talk, but when you sit and talk, your legs will get paining. So please be clear. My humble request every day after online classes, whether you have a work or not, at least for 10 to 20 minutes, lie down comfortably. After online classes, my humble request to teachers and students, lie down comfortably or without getting disturbed. And the mental health and physical health is also important equally when you go for online. So my humble thing is that teachers' interest, students' willingness, and institutional support will bring a wonderful online sessions. So with this note, thanks a lot for Holy Cross Home Science College, the administration, management, the coordinators of this program, and Audacious. I think with Audacious is my third program, Dinesh. So thanks a lot for inviting me, and I hope I have given a clarity with easily understandable manner for every fellow teacher. I just thought in a teacher angle and a student angle, even though it is student blended approach. So thanks a lot. If any queries is there, I want to answer. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Arumugam, for enlightening us with the new normal and also about the technology to engage with students and faculties. And I request Dr. Sister Mary Gilda and the participants, if you have any queries, so please raise it. We can just go ahead with that.
I'm stopping presenting, okay?
Yeah. So, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and then you can ask.
So Doctor, I thank you very specially for revitalizing all of us. Our faculties were trained in this area, but once again it was an inspiration for all of us to recapitulate what we have already learned and now we are practicing. I would like you to tell me what is wetware. You have given some like hardware and software, and what is wetware?
Thanks a lot, madam. I think that means that we are traveling in the same platform. The only thing is that we need to consider the students as much as possible. In my opinion, every student is important in online. That is what my humble request. And there are different, somebody will come online, somebody will not come. It's our teacher's responsibility to call them and find out. They will not call us. We need to call them and find out what exactly they are looking for. If possible, we can ask them to, if they are in nearer villages, they can come together. So all those things will happen, but as a teacher, we need to take it. And beyond that, people understand hardware and software. Wetware is a terminology which is used for human interaction with computers, human interaction with computers and software, because how we use the hardware and software matters a lot. That is in our brain only. It's a human brain. How human neurons are acting. For example, machine learning, artificial intelligence, what do you call it as neural schema. So how we are going to make it. Tomorrow, that's what I'm saying. No, we are more worried about, for example, our teaching community and the administration is more worried about attendance in the classroom and supervision in the exam. These are 2 points we want to. Traditionally, we have been in the mindset, but we are unable to do that. We couldn't make the attendance properly in the online classes because every time the students get disconnected. And there is a technology which is coming in. And when it comes to supervision, still we don't have any answer. So this wetware will help us. That is what I mean to say, no? So this monitoring or what do you call it as this supervision, the wetware will help us. That thinking will help us with the artificial intelligence, making the computer to think like a human being. It's impossible. That is what Rajinikanth's movie, Shankar movie, so all those things were trying. Like what do you call it as the recent 2 movies of Rajinikanth, Shankar combo is just working out with what do you call it as the Chitti, the robot, the Chitti is with the wetware concept. So what is tomorrow it is going to happen is like computer is going to act like the human brain. They are trying it. Then only we can bring all those things. So for that, teachers has to contribute a lot. Today we don't have a technology except artificial intelligence. So our human brain has to think of, there are n number of softwares and hardwares are available, but which is more comfortable for our interaction. That is what you call it as, which I mean to say wetware is more important than the hardware and the software. Thank you, madam. As far as the assessment is concerned, maybe I'm seeing your chats also. I'm reading your chats. So I'm thankful that you are using Google Classroom, G2, and the all other aspects. But conducting exam, in my opinion, please, objective type, fine, we can go in online. But if it is a short answer or a long answer, please use the methodology what I told you. Like you can send the question paper, they can write it in a paper because that will give a equality to the students. They can write and they can just take a photograph and they can send it to your mail. Later, you can ask them to courier that out to you. That is what we are planning this time. So we will be going on with that. So we'll have I'll show you one answer script, how it has come to me. I forgot to show you. Dinesh, I am sharing it now.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Sharing the screen, 1 second. Is it viewable, Dinesh?
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
Okay. I just forgot to show that. So these are, see, we'll get the same. You see here is an answer script. I think you are able to see that, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
they will write normal answers. We'll give a question and they will write this roll number, name and everything. My own MCOM students has written internal test. So I've given a case study. They have to create a research proposal on how to come out of the post-COVID pandemic scenario. So they cannot copy from any material. So they have written for 6 pages, and by those days, CAM scanner were allowed in month of what you call it as May. So they'll do this and they'll be sending us. So it becomes a wonderful what you call as write-up to correct. And it is the easiest way also. Maybe you can try for this. That is what I am trying to tell you. So this is what I mean to say wetware. This is what the human mind is interacting. Thank you, madam. Is there any other questions?
Dinesh, we will wind up.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much, Holy Cross College, for hosting the beautiful session in this morning. And thank you, Dr. Arun Murugan, for taking your time and enlightening us with your expertise. So thank you so much once again for both institutions for enlightening the faculty. So thank you so much. So let's wind up here and looking forward to join with you in the one more sessions. Thank you so much.